Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We'll be getting started shortly. All right. Good morning, folks. Good morning, David. Good morning, Carl. Hope you're doing well. We're in Weeple account today. We'll see what kind of action we get. Good morning, Lawson. Good morning, good morning. Just looking at the gap scanner here, right? So our gap scanner. We don't really have that much that has moved recently, right? The biggest one is LIDR, and this is a continuation from a spike up yesterday. So I don't really count that. Doesn't look like anything that moved yesterday is moving much today from the pre-market at least. So I'll go ahead and remove all these. I do want to check airs. I want to see how airs did after I left it. So I want to check that one. So, I mean, honestly, like, I think I did pretty well with where I got out. I got out at 90. Yeah, so I got out pretty low, right? I captured most of this pullback. And it did make another leg, so the time stop out was certainly the correct play here. I swear I won't sleep through another, through my alarm again, yeah. It can be tempting, especially in this environment, because it's looking like today might be a slow one. Yes, damn, I mean, yeah, there's like nothing right now, so we'll see how top of the hour looks. Oh my god, what happened with this? I saw this yesterday. People were calling out WNW. Now, that's a Christmas tree if I ever saw one. This is probably like a Chinese stock, right? Yeah, of course, Chinese. Why wouldn't it be? Yeah, just seeing these massive rug pulls after pumps. Historically, not surprised at all. What is the move on this? This was at like $2, went over 10, went to 12. It's like a 600% move. INAI is going crazy, huh? LNAI. I mean, fair enough. It's a penny stock, but that's fair. No joke, yesterday I got into WNW 199 at 9:30 yesterday. And where did you sell, sir? So you got in right at 199. So you got in basically the very bottom of the move. And where did you sell? Because that is certainly the question. Because getting into this, you would have been getting into a Chinese stock on what appears to be a pretty nasty pullback, right? I mean, this just dropped from $2.30 down to 190s. Best sell 302. I mean, hey, that's what? That's like a 60% move or something? Like, that's still an incredibly strong move. So you're telling me, and I'm not saying I don't believe you, but so you're telling me you bought on this pullback and you held for this entire move. Well, not all. Okay, not the entire move. You held for this first major move. Okay, that's actually not too ridiculous in the grand scheme of things. I don't think I would actually question it that much. Still a very impressive move nonetheless. Wait for some more people to get in here. If anyone else is coming, because I do need to make an announcement because I am really dumb and I did something I shouldn't have. But, I mean, I think we maybe can just do it now because not that many people have been coming by lately and I'm not really blaming them. Like, it's been a really slow market. People have been coming more so around like, I don't know, like 8 or 8:30. Let me go ahead and switch and I'll show you what I did that was very, very dumb and I should not have done. So, momento. I'm going to switch over here. I can't even show that. Fair enough. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, and it doesn't update in real time, which is strange, but okay. Fair enough. So I should be able to show this and it will show everything. All right. So, for whatever reason, the day trades don't actually update until like 8 or 8:30. I have no idea why. But the day trades are actually at 0 right now. So I should have had 2 because I was at 3 and I used 1. But as you can see, my account balance is slightly higher than it was yesterday. And the reason is because once the market opened, because I only had like 2 minutes to prepare, I forgot to switch over to my other account. So I started trading in the test account. So I'll need to remove that balance because it shouldn't be that high. I'll have to look back and see. But so for the time being, I'm actually off limits for the Thinkorswim account until next week because yeah, I did a big dumb and I traded in that account when I should not have. So just a quick disclaimer on that. We'll go ahead and we'll switch back to the Webull now. I just wanted to point that out, get it out there. I might mention it again later in the stream. But it is what happened. And I want to be transparent about that. All right. All right, we should be back now. Okay. Quick little 3-cent base hit with large size on LNAI. We're trading penny now, huh? We're trading penny. I mean, it looks strong, right? If you look at it just from the chart and you don't look at the price, it looks like a bullish chart, certainly. I mean, daily, like, this is horrendous, but yeah, no, intraday it looks pretty strong at the moment. No news on, well, okay, this was yesterday. Yeah, no, there's not really any news on this. At least not on Bazinga. Good morning, Proton Junkie. Don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, if you guys could do me a favor and hit that like button, I would greatly appreciate it. Though in this kind of market, I can totally see some reasons not to be very happy about the situation. Good morning, no thanks. Good morning, Larry. Good morning, Tristan. You actually showed up today on time. Good morning, sir. Why is nothing moving? That's a great question. One that I can't answer. And it seems like even at the top of the hour, we don't really have anything. So I guess my little rant didn't waste any time. I've been holding LMAI, I guess you mean NAI, for a couple days. Glad to see it going up. You were holding this for a couple days. So you bought, like, in this area. Maybe you bought here. I guess this is where there was some action. So you bought here and you've been holding it. I mean, if you're up, great, right? Like, this is what? It's like a 100% increase, maybe 150%. But keep in mind that this is a stock that just historically just dies. So certainly some risk to it. 0.2679. 67, okay. So you did. You bought on this, right? You bought on this spike. Am I correct on that? Because that's the only time frame that matches your price level. You would have had to have bought either on the spike up or the drop down, and then you held. PMAX Hong Kong going. Yeah, right at the top of it. Oof. Okay, so you average that because you say you bought at the top, but the top is 0.33. So you averaged up. Or you averaged down, or one or the other. I was so excited for today around noon yesterday when WNW was 13. Then I had to totally dump. That way we would get momentum from WNW. I mean, I'm not surprised WNW dumped, right? It is Chinese stock. There doesn't seem to be anything too crazy. There was like a very small news headline, but it didn't really amount to anything. Now, because of how big this move was, I could see why people would be ambitious going into today. Yeah, PMAX moving like you said. You said it was Chinese? Yeah, Hong Kong. Yeah. So this might be the continuation, NASCAR, that you were interested in, because another Chinese stock moving on high volume the next day. No volume, though, so it looks very suspicious. But, I mean, hey, the last one went 600%, so the sky could be the limit on this one. Oh, yes, that's right. I did average down. Yeah, I figured, right? Just like your cost basis didn't match the top, so I figured. But yeah, that actually makes sense. Yep. Well, I'm glad you got bailed out, Proton. It's up to you what you want to do now. It's the ambition that will kill you. Ambition, FOMO, same thing, right? They are interchangeable in my eyes. Yeah, I saw Candyman. He only took one trade yesterday. And he watched I popped in on him to check on him, and he watched this move and he didn't trade it. At least I don't think he traded it. So like he watched this entire thing and he was like, man, it's going to go to 10. And then it actually did go to 10. So I can only imagine how he's feeling. Hopefully he keeps his nerves in check. We can at least keep PMAX pulled up because at least this one looks interesting. No, it's too cheap for me to short, so I don't really want to mess with it. Also, considering a Chinese stock ran 600% yesterday, I am very afraid to pull the trigger on it, right? The momentum potential behind it seems significant. Like this, at least theoretically, this has the potential to go up significantly. So, just trying to limit my risk, so I don't want any part of this. And who knows, maybe this is the top and this is just a smaller Christmas tree. Yeah, I know I've got hopium for the next leg up. The next leg up, dude, you're already up 100% or whatever. I guess you're probably not up 100 because you're average. No, you're basically up 100%, give or take. Next leg. I mean, if you get it, you get it, right? You do you. I think you have to know what days to be ambitious heading into the market. There are days you have to have your foot completely off the gas. Too many of those lately. Yeah, certainly. And this is like an instance where, to me, at least from a short bias perspective, I want my foot off the gas for this stock, right? Chinese stock just went up 600% yesterday. Chinese stock looks like it could be running today. No news on it, so that is inherently bearish. And yeah, the chart actually looks just kind of wonky on this one. Kind of unusual stock history. But yeah, this one doesn't feel safe to me at all to consider a short for. Like the upside risk seems very significant. And a day following 1,000% move, I think you need to be ambitious in small caps the next day. No, that makes sense, certainly. I remember GLTO, right? That was a very powerful move that happened back in November. The very next day, you had MOVE that also moved like 500 or 600%. And that was almost entirely sympathy, right? So I'm sure a lot of the people that bought this stock so far and are holding it are people that saw WNW and are FOMOing. Like there was no doubt in my mind that's what's going on. Now, what I'm concerned about is take a look at the volume when this move started. Look at how there was like almost no volume, right? Like 1,700, 450, 1,400, 1,000. 12,000 here is a little uptick. 1,000, 8,000. Like, so this entire first half of the move was maybe on like 30,000 volume. And then you get hundreds of thousands per minute on the second half. So what I worry is that Chinese people, whoever's pumping this, they saw WNW. So they're like, hey, if we can get this thing moving with momentum, then we can dump to people. So they start pushing this up on light volume. It catches the scanners and everything. So retail starts jumping in here. And the question is, where does it go from there, right? Because if this is propped up with no news, likely based off of trying to FOMO people into sympathy play, like this feels like it could be a trap. If there's at least news behind this, I would say it's more logical for it to go up. Like the stock moves on news, the underlying isn't just pure manipulation, and then that results in the move. That seems more believable to me. This feels like some kind of manipulation. You can never really tell what a Chinese stock is going to do. It's one of My New Year's observation. I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say resolution. That's my 1 year observation. So I've only been at this a year. No, yeah, I get that. And what I consider Chinese stocks as is just higher variance. So you kind of imagine, let's say, like, we'll just say you pick a random US stock in a small cap sector. It doesn't matter what it does. If you just throw a dart and you pick a random US small cap stock, let's say that the range that that thing could move is maybe it has potential to go up on average 30%. On average, it has the potential to drop 30%. Right, so you got like a 30% upside downside risk. With Chinese stocks, it's very interesting because that variance, that range, is essentially like the risk reward, I think, is probably similar, but that range is much bigger, right? So if you buy a Chinese stock, you might have potential to make 600%, but you also risk losing 90% of, right? Like if you buy at $1, it could go to $6, it could go to 10 cents. So I feel like that range of variance is much higher. That's not to say that they are worse per se. Can't trade it on E-Trade PMAX. I shouldn't be able to trade it on Webull, but I'll go ahead and throw an order out just to see if it's tradable on Webull. Okay. Let me do 100 shares. Okay. So it is tradable. There's just no shares to short, but it is tradable on Webull. To be honest, PMAX has just over 1x relative volume. So how do you see the upside potential? I'm just talking about historically how stocks have moved. Like, for example, NPT, right? This one might be one where I can't even show it because it's just so old. Yeah, the move was this the move back in February 3rd? We'll find out. All right, your argument, it's a good argument to make, and I want to scrutinize it if I can. All right, wow, it's exactly 30 days ago. So take a look at this. So NPT, when it made its spike, it made this massive move on only about 600,000 volume. Now, you might argue, but what was the volume on the daily? Like, what is the average daily volume? And the answer, we'll have to do like 90 days, unfortunately. But I will show you here, right? And this is like a more condensed one, so the volume will be higher. We'll just look at it and say 1.2 million shares of volume, right? But even some of these areas over here, before this massive spike, you were getting somewhere around like 20, like 15,000 shares. These aren't insignificant on their own, right? Even over here, you have like somewhere it's like 75,000, 60,000. So talking about how a 10x volume increase produced a move from $6 to 30, that isn't balanced, right? You would expect 10x relative volume to maybe produce a 50% move, not like, I don't know, a 700% move. And there's a reason for it, right? Because relative volume also matters for what the actual tradable float is. And in foreign stocks, they tend to not have as much liquidity available for trading. Like it's a lot more restrictive, if that makes sense. So relative volume also matters in context of what you're trading. If something is like, if it's a US company, it's very liquid, then relative volume is less significant. If it's a Chinese stock where volume is more illiquid and sudden surges or dumps can cause drastic price changes, right? There's not a lot of people there to buy or sell. So that can cause those bigger spikes. That's from my observations, at least. What was the ticker called? Now it has 2x relative volume. Yeah. If there's a Chinese manipulation behind PMAX, it could run 30 cents or $30 before dumping. Kind of a blessing and a curse of Chinese tickers. Yeah, and certainly, right? That's the thing, too, is how hard are they going to pump it before they dump it? Because the only thing that Chinese people care about is max reward, but they also understand that they can't always just pump it and dump it. Because what would happen if they did that is short sellers would recognize that these pump and dumps happen too frequently. So anytime they try to pump it to get retail to jump on, short sellers are just going to hammer it back down. So to disincentivize short sellers from correcting the price movement, right? Because we're talking about a Chinese stock, sub $1, that's probably a crap company that's moving up on no news significantly, right? The stock was up like 30, 40, 50% before volume came in on no news. Any logical short seller would say this needs to retrace. So in order to stop short sellers from aggressively correcting the price back to an appropriate level, they will occasionally do these WNW type plays where they squeeze it to oblivion. And honestly, even the WNW play was pretty tame, right? We've seen some moves, like this one was only to $13, $14. And it is worth mentioning, by the way, this fully retraced, right? And because it fully retraced, this shows this was intended to be a short squeeze. If it was not a short squeeze, it should have held at least somewhat above where it started, and it didn't. But we've seen instances like, what was it? HOLO was one. HKD was another, where you have these stocks that they go to over $100, over $1,000, and their entire purpose is to squeeze out shorts. And you're totally right, right? They could only pump this 30 cents and then rug it. They could pump it to $300 and rug it. That's a totally valid point. And that's kind of the architecture of what Chinese pump and dumps are. It's a very good observation. Or Hong Kong, they're interchangeable. Yeah, I mean, it's really any foreign company, but it's more so China. Hong Kong and China are the two big ones. I've seen Malaysia a little bit. Yeah, around noon, WNW was shaping up a lot like Hollow. Ran from 150 to 50 in a day. Going parabolic in after hours. Yeah. And that can happen, right? And that's why, that's part of, first of all, that's why I have a stop for my shorting strategy. Because for all intents and purposes, this should retrace, right? Chinese stock pumping up like 50%. It should retrace. But the reality is they can keep running. And if you don't cut that loss, your risk to reward could start to go insane. Right? Even if I would say even if I shorted at the very top of this move, we'll just say at like $1, we'll be super generous to me. If I shorted this aggressively at $1 and I'm saying I'm holding for the full retracement down to 60 cents, right? I get 40% return. Like that sounds extremely impressive, right? So I'm trying to make 40 cents profit. But then if it goes from $1 to $2 and I'm like, well, it's going to retrace all the way back down, so I'm going to hold it. And maybe it will eventually retrace all the way back down. But now I've risked $1 and I'm only potentially making 40 cents. And then if I just keep holding, right? It goes, what if it goes to 3, 4, 5, and it goes to 10, 50, 100. All of a sudden I'm risking $99 to make 40 cents. Now that seems kind of like a skewed risk reward, doesn't it? Might be a good day. All 3 of my bags are headed up. Oh God, you're a bag holder. No, I don't know, man. Like I never subscribed to the idea of bag holding. I mean, I've done it in the past just because, you know, you average into something and you get stubborn and don't want to sell it. I totally sympathize with that. But a lot of these stocks, their trajectory is down, right? There's a reason they're penny stocks. So if you bag hold in general, you're mean reverting. And the mean reversion is that the stock goes down. So I feel like bag holding hurts you more than it helps you. Like in the case with, what was the one you said? Right, I forgot the ticker, LNAI. Yeah. So in the case of LNAI, you got bailed out. But look at the yearly chart on this, right? If you just pick any point to buy and you hold for a year, you lose. Now, if you're swing trading and it's intentional and you're saying, for example, here, you're like, okay, this thing is oversold. Let me hold it for a bounce attempt. You could at least make a strategy around that if that was your plan. But what I would argue, and because this is what it seems like to me, is you bought into this on momentum and you refused to sell, right? You got caught in this huge rug and your average was around like 20, what did you say? Like 27 or something, 26, 27. And then you held all the way to 16 cents, 15 cents, right? You suffered a 40 or 50% drawdown on this trade, which seems very, very significant. That's right, I'm stubborn. No, at least you're honest. Yeah. And I mean, I am too, right? If you get in something, you want to be right, right? We never get into a trade expecting to be wrong. So when you see something go so hard against you, it feels almost like an identity crisis in a way. Right? You start questioning yourself. You're like, man, how could I have been so wrong? I mean, I'm glad you got bailed out here, but yeah, I don't really subscribe or endorse bag holding. I think it's very dangerous in general, and ultimately, I think you'll lose money doing it. Right? Not financial advice, but I think generally people, if they do it, they will lose money. What I've learned is when it goes down, then I start doing my research on the company. Well, yeah, and that's you trying to justify it. Right? Whenever you bag hold and something goes down, you try to create a reason to justify holding. Right? You didn't research the company when you bought. You researched it after the stock dumped, and your mind is scrambling to come up with a reason to justify holding because it desperately does not want to be wrong. Small caps trade like leveraged ETFs. They are designed to go to zero in the long run. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Oh, that's yeah, that's fair. What was it? The VIX or there was like a VIX ETF. I forget what it's called. It's like VXX or something, where it's just infinitely going towards zero. Right? I remember like there was this one guy I used to follow. His literal name was Short the VIX, which I think is interesting. What kind of signifiers are you looking for in your research? Are you talking to me or Proton? MOBX and GCPS look really good, but that's just what I've read about. So like GCPX, that's I don't see GCPS here. Me, brother? Okay, I'll answer you in a moment then. These are your other two bags. So this thing spikes up from 17-ish cents to $1.60. And I mean, that's just a massive spike, right? You're talking like almost 1,000% move. Oh, BIF's moving. Very interesting. So for my research when I'm doing long-term swings, I'm mostly looking at the fundamentals, right? I'm looking at the balance sheet. I'm looking at the income statement. I'm trying to see, is this a fair value for the price, right? You've got book value, you've got EBITDA, you've got a bunch of different ways to track it. And I will look for, just like undervalued stocks, right? So that's typically what I do when I'm looking to swing trade. Angel. I'm new here. Have you tried the 5-minute orb with a 1-minute breakout and retest? Orb. Is that like the little circle things? Like, what is orb? They built an EMP shielding for Tomahawk missiles and Gulfstream jets. Do I want to get involved with this? So this is a stock that has bled down in the past. It's had several instances where it spikes up, but they always failed. Every single time. This was the one that burned me before, but I don't want to be stubborn and avoid it either. Or rather, I don't want to avoid it out of fear, and I also don't want to be stubborn. So I need to look at this objectively. Let's see. No news on this follow-up breakout. Volume started to come in here. Yeah, realistically, like, I should be okay. Should be okay with giving this another shot. Looking at the daily, we do have resistance up here, 270s. So someone's willing to push it higher. Am I able to short this? I am. Huge borrow fee. And I'll get some orders out while I still can, because I have a feeling this one won't be shortable for very long. Okay, we are postured for BIAF if this does want to keep running. No, I think it's fine to engage with this one. It meets my criteria. It did fail me in the past, but I remember ACTP was a similar one, right? That one would have also been a loss, but I ended up passing on it because it had failed me the first time, and it would have been almost a perfect winner the second time. So, like, that's at least evidence against avoiding something just because it failed me once. And it could just be variance, too. Open range breakout. Okay. Mark the 5-minute high and low. Wait for the candle breakout and above and come back and test. Okay, yeah, okay. Open range breakout. Yeah. That's something I used to do. It's kind of like a fair value gap kind of play, right? In its own sense. Or rather, you're using the fair value as support. It'll go 1 cent below your target and you won't get filled. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, right? What was it? Yesterday, I had a stock come within 2 cents of filling for my 8-share order. and it would have been a full-size winner. I would have made like $4 or $5 on it. It did the full retracement, but I was 2 cents off of an entry. This is a pretty significant pullback, so maybe this just rolls over. Yeah, new support level with trend of high or low. Right. Yeah, certainly. And I've done it in the past. Realistically, my long bias strategy didn't rely on that so much, because my long bias strategy was more so just scalping for fair value gap. It wasn't necessarily looking for breakout ranges. So I would say that I would not be able to endorse that system because I was not able to find success with that system, right? It feels good to do it. It seems intuitive, but in practice, when I try to apply that, the orb system, I could not find success doing that. So I cannot in good faith endorse that system. It feels like it's correct, but I could not find success with it. Does that make sense? Or I'm trying to be as transparent as I can. I don't want to just support something that did not work for me. But it does feel correct intuitively. All right, we got like an extra 30 cents to go before my fill on BIAF, so we're kind of chilling right now. BIAF is only up 20%, so it's actually not even up that much. Used it yesterday on MWM and another, and was able to make it out with a good profit. Well, I'm glad it worked for you. VCIG is the one I passed on because it's failed historically. Then it runs from 7 to 33 in pre-market. Did it run? VCIG. Are you talking about back here? Well, no, that's not even to 33. Well, this was around 7. Okay, so maybe pre-market it went to 33. Yeah, it probably went to, you're probably talking about this, and it went to 33 pre-market. One thing I will just say, NASCAR, as kind of like a consolation, is correct, you chose not to trade this and you missed this move. But also consider, this gave the entire move back in one day, and then it went red. So you're looking at it purely at what you missed, profit-wise, but I would also argue this thing gave the entire move back in one day, so there was significant downside to it. Right? So just looking at it practically, like, it didn't hold up, so maybe your way of thinking about it was actually appropriate. Right? If this would have spiked up and then it would have, like, I don't know, held at around 14 or something, then I'd be like, okay, you missed the move and it held some of its gains. But the fact that it gave the entire thing back, I wouldn't really argue that you missed it. Yeah, remember the daily chart only shows market hours. Correct. Yeah, that's why I was saying your description matched this pretty well, so I just assumed it went higher pre-market. Yeah, but holding my longs for too long isn't the problem for me. It's getting out way too early. I mean, it's not really an easy question for me to answer. Right? I mean, that is the question. Right? When do you get out? Right? I guess the beginner mistake that most people run into when they first start is they hold losers too long, they become bag holders. And they refuse to admit they're wrong. Like that's like the beginner point, right? If you're a beginner and you buy this, like if you bought this whenever it was at like $30 and you saw it go down to 15, you're like, oh, well, I'm not selling for a loss, I'll hold it. And now you're at $2. So like the beginner trap is you bag hold into the depths. Then I guess at the next level it is you've learned that bag holding is suicide. So you then start getting paranoid about it and you start cutting at the first sign of weakness. Quit talking about... No, bro, no. Look, Proton, no. I'm not talking about you specifically. This is like this is a strategy that a lot of new trade this is what I did when I was new. This is what newer traders do. This is like the first trap that I think people fall into is they buy something, they get stubborn with it, and they refuse to sell. And I won't even use you. Like with me, whenever I was first getting in it, I would be buying stocks like this. And not only would I refuse to sell, and I'm sure you guys can relate, but I would start to average in, right? I would double down, triple down, quadruple down, refuse to admit I'm wrong until I'm at max pain, you know? And that's the natural thought process for someone new to the trading space. Right? I feel like that is kind of like the first level you reach. You could use a 15% trailing stop loss. It doesn't matter what you use. You just got to use something, right? Like for me, I'm just looking for a 10% stop loss above my max order. And that's what I'm using for the stop. Which is, I mean, fair. It doesn't necessarily have to be something concrete. If you identify the correct moves, you're just trying to limit your exposure. It doesn't matter necessarily which exposure limiting metric you use. You just have to use something so that when you get caught, and I'll go to the daily just to show it better. My God, this freaking stock. Right, the only real goal is once you find the stock that's moving up, and I'll actually we'll go to intraday. We'll do like 20. This should show it, right? Do we see it here? Yeah. Once you can identify a stock that's moving up, the only thing you really need to focus on is stopping the downside, right? Because this thing will give the entire thing back otherwise. Statistically, right? Since most small cap stocks are inherently going to roll over. It's hard to let go when you're down. Absolutely, certainly. And it's ego pressure. You don't want to be wrong. That's entirely what it is. PSQH on scan. I don't see it on my scanners. I'll take a look at it. Maybe it's new. It's a penny stock. 49 million shares. Yeah, this won't even show up on my scanners. Float's too high. Yeah, it's hard to tell the wave. Yeah. Yeah. And like for me at least, this is really telling too. Tell me if you guys can relate. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with this. If you were a bag holder at one point, did you feel a relief of pressure after you gave up and sold? Right? If you were holding a stock that was down and you basically gave up on it and you sold, did you feel pressure remove after you sold? Put a 1 in chat if you agree. Put a 2 if you do not. We'll see how many 1s and 2s we get. If any. Maybe I'm speaking to the choir. Yes, pressure is gone whether you win or lose it. That's kind of that's what I've experienced. A 1 from Obi. BBIAF just came out with news. I'm jumping in. Let me check it out. It did just come out with news. Wait, why did the news just now come out? Okay, I need to reassess if I should be staying in this. CYCU, F this stock, man. I literally was 2 cents off of failing this stock, and now it's popping again. I mean, it's so far underground, though. It's probably not going anywhere. I'll keep an eye on it, though. I do want to keep focus on BIAF for the moment, because this is where I have orders out. Let's see. Actionable results and helps patent avoid costly invasive procedures. Okay. is still stock that typically fails, so I'm still interested. This news catalyst could be what's needed to get this higher. I find it very strange that the news comes out now, right? Because it was around 7:15 when this started moving. It seems kind of strange, like someone was maybe knew the news early. 2. Okay, Larry says 2. No, I respect it, Larry. Maybe my perception or experience is different than yours. Yeah, I don't swing 3 weeks in, and I've been momentum trading, and the orb is working for me. So I got an MWM at 299 and then got stopped out at 360. That's awesome. 60-cent winner. I should clarify, though, a swing for me is just holding more than 10 minutes. A few hours, maybe. That is certainly not a swing. That is an intraday trade. A swing, by definition, is holding overnight. Two, I felt the passionate anger of 1,000 suns. Let's see. Okay. Larry, you put 2 as well. Would you agree with Angel's phrasing that you didn't feel relief, you felt anger? You felt frustration. Because I think that's valid too. It could just be mindset. Right? Because what I experienced was defeat. The feeling of being totally wrong. And I suppose another reaction to challenging your belief is one of resentment or anger or frustration. Yes. Okay. So, I mean, think about it this way then. There's like a mental model that people have when they encounter something that doesn't work the way they think it should. Some people will say, I was wrong. And they will feel guilt. They will feel shame. But they will also feel a sense of relief from accepting that. The opposite approach would be not accepting and instead showing anger or resentment towards what caused the challenge in belief. And that can be helpful because if your belief is correct and you got robbed, then you should rightfully be angry. It's a very interesting philosophical way to think about it. HCWBPR. Yeah, there is a press release. It is a penny stock, so I'm not super interested. I mean, it is a good... This isn't a very strong downtrend. Prior day mover. Yeah, this moved yesterday. Closes exclusive worldwide license for HCW1, a high potential fusion immunotherapeutic. The reason I would get angry, I would sell the stock, and an hour later it'll go back up. Yeah, and it makes you feel like you were robbed, right? I think that's the biggest reason for the anger. It's one thing if you sell and then the stock keeps selling off. But if you sold and then the stock rallies back up, at that point you feel targeted. You feel as though you were exploited, right? It doesn't feel fair. It feels exploited by nature, like someone took advantage of the fact that you were buying and selling, and they intentionally made the price action work specifically to make you lose money. I can relate to that. Hey, that's the other one I got into. HCWB, it might have a second day move. It held up pretty well, right? Like, you look at the retracement on it, it actually held most of its move. Where is it? There it is. Right? You had a 61-ish% retracement. It held some of the move. And now that it has news, I mean, it could make another move. It's gapping weirdly. Let's see. I guess I can put these on watch. Still watching BIAF for an entry here. I got my orders out. Now that this has news, the odds it actually runs to my orders is higher, I think. You're not touching BIAF? It does seem strange. Like, is there actually like no news that came out on this? Because, like I said, it started running here, really gained traction around 7:30, but the news didn't come out for me until 7:45. I'm gonna look on Google. Yeah. Yeah, look at this. The news didn't come out until 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. It came out at 7:45. Why was the price running almost 15 minutes before the news came out? It seems kind of weird. I'm sure nothing strange is going on with that one, guys. Insiders knew the news. No. There's no insider trading in the stock market, Proton. Let's be reasonable here. News leaked? I mean, possibly, yeah. I mean, news leaked or, well, Yeah, it's probably either a news leak or insider stuff. Yeah. Yeah, Bun Man says that's rarely happens, right? Yeah. Kind of crazy that JAGU has been downtrending as an oil gas company in the middle of everything going on in Iran. Yeah, I mean, logically you would think that just oil and energy stocks in general would continue higher. This one's a little different because this is a recent IPO. So this one will fundamentally act different. This one might just not have enough exposure to be to grant the momentum for it. How close did I get to an entry? Because it was getting a little close. Yeah, we still need like another 30-cent move for me to be in this one. It's still only up 23%. I need to put shades up because right now, with the way the sun's coming up right now, it's actually shining into me here. You can kind of see it from my webcam. But you have to put some sort of like shades or blinds up after this. That way it's not just shining in my eyes. I don't really mind it, but I'm wondering if it makes my camera look weird. The fact that people got in this before the news came out makes me question if it's going to keep going up. Yeah, so the last prospectus on BIAF was back in October, so it's nothing really recent. Makes me look angelic. Oh, thank you, sir. It's called a liquidity trap or third day surge. Shorts that bought through day one haven't covered yet, and the price starts to creep up until they start to cover. Then longs start to jump in also. No, that makes sense. I mean, it's a valid argument. Right, there could be any number of reasons why this was creeping. You got to also consider, right, it's not like this just happened out of nowhere. The fact is that this stock had just moved up 2 days ago, right? It held around this area, right? It looked like it was going to fail, but it actually held. So this could have been a coincidental start to short squeezing pressure, and then the news could have compounded on top of that. Now, I'm not saying that that's what happened. It seems a little bit too convenient to me that the news came out right before or right after this move started. That seems too convenient, but it might not be the only plausible theory, is what I guess I'm trying to say. Shouldn't I drink so much coffee this morning? Man, I'm in pain. You shouldn't have drunken that much coffee? Man, I'm in pain. I can't talk. Man, of my impatient. What? Okay, that's why I was trying to read it and I couldn't. Yeah, it's a slower day today. When I saw the gap scanner at 7, I kind of assumed it would be slower. I thought about playing the music, not gonna lie, but yeah. 62% up on LNAI. I'm glad it worked out for you. I am also slightly concerned. Xena Drone PR. Check it out. Okay, $2 stock. This one tends to spike up to around 7. $56 million shares. Canadian stock. Okay, so just kind of popped and immediately crashed. But there's also light volume, so this could easily reverse. This is shortable. It is. Don't think it's likely, but I will go ahead and throw some orders out because I can, and because it matches my criteria. This might just might just immediately fail and there's nothing to trade here, but at least I'm attempting, right? I'm getting the orders out there. Yeah, so I am postured for Xena and BIAF. BIAF is actually a little bit close to getting filled, but Xena, not even close. Xena's got some serious work to do. WAVPR. You're in at 290 on FLYX. Good luck, sir. Yeah, this one has news, but it's not really moving. Yeah. Yeah, this seems like a very strong headline. I don't want to short this one. No, this seems like very good news. I don't want to mess with this one. Well, they did just announce an offering. Actually, hold on, let me look into that. They did just announce an offering a few days ago. How much? Interesting. Yeah, $100 million secondary offering. It's quite a lot. I already checked 2 minutes ago. You're ahead of me then, sir. So the shares outstanding is actually higher. It might be worth considering then. You sold? Hmm. Want to avoid those short, I mean. Yeah. Right. I'm sure that it will go to $1 now. Yeah. I'm actually surprised how much this is failing. I mean, maybe just the dilution's enough, but it seemed like a strong catalyst. Surprised it's not really holding up. It could have been the offering. Because, I mean, just looking at the headline sounds very strong, right? Starlink installation, they secure multi-aircraft Starlink agreement. Like that's an incredibly strong sounding headline. So for this to fully retrace on high volume tells me someone's selling heavily into this. The only logical thing is the dilution. And it was just a few days ago, right? The 13th, when was that? 13th was, yeah, that was literally just Friday. So 2 trading days ago, they announced a $100 million offering. I'll take my $17 and go home. Yeah, definitely diluting into it. No bid, really holding. Even if I did try to short it, I would not have gotten filled. My order was too high. Curious, am I able to short it now? I am still able to short it. Very interesting. Woohoo, 22.55. There you go. No trade for you so far today? Yep, same here. Same here. I've got my orders. Right? I mean, it's not like I haven't been trying. I do got orders out there, but... I mean, the Zena one's basically dead. Like, that one just kind of popped and dropped immediately. BIAF is the only one that's really even close to getting me filled right now. Honestly, I'm going to cancel the Zena orders. Zena's not going to run. The odds that this one runs is like 2%. Let's be honest. What is this? I don't know. This is a trading channel where I trade stocks in the stock markets. Good morning. Seems like we got things opening up later in the day, if at all. Otherwise, no action. Yeah, it's been slow. This has been a particularly... Yesterday started slow, but then it picked up a bit. Right? I had one near entry that would have been a beautiful winner. And then I got in a second trade that realistically should have been a loser, and I got lucky. Yeah, yesterday was better. Today is definitely colder. Go ahead and throw a poll out here, see how many you guys have traded today. LNAI, your thoughts? We looked at it earlier. I can look at it again. Like, yearly chart, this is horrifically bad. I wouldn't expect this to hold up more than a few days, if I'm being honest. No news on it currently, so this entire move is on nothing, right? So no news behind it. There was a move back here that spiked and failed. And honestly, even looking at that, there was no news for this spike and fail either. So yeah, this looks, I mean, it could be a short squeeze play. I don't know what the short interest is, but there's no news behind it. It's got a horrible daily chart. Realistically, this should roll over at some point. Like, there's nothing really behind it. Where's this company located? It's in the United States. Yeah, I think this is just some kind of short squeeze and that it will eventually roll over. What's your plan of attack for generating trade ideas for these small cap stocks? It is this new strategy that we're working on is a short buy strategy. It is inherently looking at small caps. We think, or at least I think, that some stocks that spike up don't deserve to be up. So my strategy involves around finding those stocks and shorting them. Right? Currently the strategy, we currently have 8 wins and 1 loss with the new strategy. Very impressive, if I'm being honest. I did not expect that high of accuracy. Risk reward is about 1-to-1 right now. It's give or take. I think it's on average 53 cents per winner, 51 cents per loser, something like that. But we haven't really seen much of the extreme ends of the bell curve yet. So, and again, it's only 9 trades, so that's a very, very small sample size. So I'm not really confident drawing any conclusions in either direction. Like, it's certainly what you want to see for early data, but it is not enough for me to feel confident in anything. How much should I start with in terms of capital? So right now we were doing one share. And actually, let me just pull up my spreadsheet. I'll just show you it. That way you don't have to kind of keep calling stuff out here. Go ahead and switch over. Let's see. No, I don't want to do that. No. No, I want to do window capture. Okay. There we go. All right, should be able to see that. I'll go ahead and full screen it as much as I can, make it easier. There. All right, so this is my current spreadsheet we've got. All right, so I was trading with one share at a time for the first 5 or so trades, and then we upped it. We're now trading with 8 shares, right? So the share basis is now 8. All right, so per share, I've made $3.66, which is very impressive for just 9 trades. I do want to preface by saying that the variance is very high right now. If you guys have been watching me, you'll know that some of these trades, like this trade, for example, it ended up being a 1 cent winner, but at one point I was down $3. At one point I was up $3. On this trade, for example, it was extremely close to a max loss. At one point I was down around $7 on this trade. So there is certainly some variance that isn't getting captured with this reported data. And I don't want to shy away and say that it doesn't exist or that this is the accurate information, because with such low sample size, you're missing a lot of nuance with the fluctuations. So I don't want it to seem like the strategy is just like beautiful or perfect or anything, because it's certainly not. There's certainly still a lot that I need to analyze to gain more confidence. And that's why I'm only trading 8 shares, right? Because my confidence level and the strategy is not high yet. Hope that answers your question. Dang, INAI, 60 cents. Yeah, she be running. On no news, too. Are you just picking random companies based on technical price action and then background checking the company in question? More or less, yeah. There's certain things. I've done a lot of back testing, and there were certain features we discovered gave more signals that the stock would pull back versus going higher. So this is me testing and applying it to only those stocks, right? And as a result, it's very selective, right? We've been doing this strategy for about 4 weeks roughly, and I've only taken 9 trades. So the strategy is very, very selective. In terms of capital, yeah, these were $2,100 accounts, right? In this account, I'm up $3.80. I don't remember what I'm up. I'm like $4 in the other account. But we're jumping between 2 different brokers right now to work around the PDT rule. So that's why you can see my day trades here, right? I have 1 day trade in this account currently. We've only taken 9 trades, but we are in a very slow market. I mean, that's a valid point too. If the market was hotter and we were getting more spikes up, my strategy would be firing more. So that is a valid point as well. Because the market's been colder, we're kind of seeing the extreme end, right? I already have strict criteria, but now on top of that, we also have a cold market. So the two just don't really blend well together. So there's a lot of dead space. And I've basically accepted, right? Because I could have kept trading my old system. Like, I was working towards 1,000 subs. I was trying to build the channel, but I recognized that that was not a good direction to go in for what I wanted to do long term. So as much as it pained me, I was willing to kind of sacrifice channel growth to really focus on developing something better. Right? And I appreciate you guys that have stuck around despite all the dry, cold environments. But I mean, I guess in some ways that's how you got to deal with it when you're in a cold market and you're trying to develop something. You can't force it. You got to be selective. OCG, China starting to get attention again. At early pop already. Yeah, I see that. I think Chinese stocks are just kind of going to get pops for the next day or two just because of WNW. Wouldn't surprise me. Meanwhile, Flip Flop, he's like the short selling king. He just shorts anything that pops. He's like, screw it, man. If it pops up, it's going back. I'm shorting it. Bro, CSL, what the freaking heck? Okay, what's CSL doing? Okay, so 330s to 430s. What is this? Carlisle Coast Inc. I guess they came out with some kind of news. So the spread is $333 on the bid and $418 on the ask. So it could just be the case that, yeah, because if you look at the price action, there's no price action during pre-market. So this could just be the case that for whatever reason somebody just bought a share. Yeah, 50 shares were bought here. So for whatever reason someone bought that high. Are small caps the same as penny stocks? I mean, I know the definitions are a bit iffy, right? Some people describe them in different ways. I describe a penny stock as anything under $5. I know you could expand that to include like $10 stocks. And I know some people take the literal definition, which is a penny stock is anything under $1 because it has pennies. But I would arguably say that they're roughly the same. There is overlap. I think there is nuance though, right? A $5 stock technically isn't a penny stock by the traditional definition. But I think the definition has been expanded to include stocks that are around $5. So the definition has changed over time. At least that is my understanding. I was nicely green in October last year. Since then, barely profitable in the last 4 months. My gross P&L is being murdered by fees because I'm trading too small. No, yeah, and that's that. I experienced the same issues, certainly. Yeah, it was like, what was it, July or something? Had a huge fire month. It was excellent volatility month. But it's just like ever since January, August, or somewhere in that area, like it just kind of dropped off a cliff. If I can trade a ticker 20 times, then I would make a lot more. At the moment, it's like 1 to 3 scalps a day. Terrible. Yeah. Does feel like I short way more often, but I don't have any day trade restrictions to think about. Yeah, certainly. If I didn't have those restrictions either, I may be a little more aggressive. with my strategy, especially with profit taking. FLYX curling back. And I'm willing to hold shorts past 9:30, so that opens up my options a little. Yeah. The fact that I have to get out by 9:30 is also certainly restrictive for me. Certainly. So essentially all small caps, but penny stocks are basically smaller small caps. Yeah, that's one way to look at it. Yep. And then you got the pink sheets, and you got the stocks that are 000 stocks, right? So it's like 1,000th of a penny by 1,000th of a penny. Yeah, 0.0001 by 0.0002. Anything under 75 cents prior close have different NASDAQ hold bands. Anything under 75 cents is pennies free for me. And yeah, and that's kind of what I mean. Like, people have their own, we kind of agree generally on what penny stocks are, but people have kind of morphed the definition to fit their own strategy or their own criteria. Right? Like, I consider penny stocks anything under $5, but I could totally respect someone saying you're being too generous with that range. That's actually, here we're going to ask a question. We're going to poll this. This is probably a good way to see. I'm going to make a poll for it. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. Because for me, I would answer number 2. And I don't think there's a right answer either. I think the most correct answer would be under $1, but I don't know if people necessarily converge on that opinion. CREG. Wow. This is a stock that's been pretty stable. We had one instance where it spiked up and it gave everything back. You had an instance back here where it spiked up and gave everything back. I don't have many gaps. No news. Chinese stuck. There you go. Take this for what it's worth, but there is speculation and that Roaring Kitty just logged into his account. Oh man, did GME spike on that speculation? Is it up? No, it's not up. Okay. If there was speculation, I feel like GME would have rose. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I would be careful, flip-flop. WNW did a 600% move yesterday, and it was a Chinese stock. So that's something I'm just kind of keeping in the back of my head when I'm looking at these Chinese plays. Right now, I'm less willing to short Chinese stocks, right? Because they're moving. We just had an instance where one made a 600% move. So I'm less willing to engage with them right now. This is certainly ideal circumstances where there's no news, but it is still suspicious. But we have to question who made the terminology penny stock. Smart people, yeah. They have lots of money, so what would be a penny stock to those people? I'd say anything under double digits. I mean, I'm not saying anything, but Keith Gill is making a private trading group, and I may or may not have been chosen. It's like 100 people or something. Right. Penny stock equals OTCs plus listed stocks under $1. I think that would be... I mean, I don't even think you need OTC. Over the counter doesn't seem necessary for penny stocks. But that's your interpretation. I mean, I don't know. Is there a literal definition for penny stocks? Or is it kind of just under $1, but up to you to decide? Also, CREG is getting a bit of a pop. I'm not going to mess with this one. I'm going to let this one alone. Too much danger. Does bro not know who Keith Gill is? I've heard the name. I do not know intuitively, though. I've heard of the name. Could you educate me, Mr. Lawson? I mean, the fact that I know the name, or I recognize it, means they must be someone important. You took a starter at 150. You're crazy, dude. You're crazy. Good luck, sir. I mean, I can't type properly. I can see that. Okay, so most people seem to agree that a penny stock is a stock under $1. Some people seem to expand that definition to under $5. I personally would fall into that camp. I think Ross Cameron also falls into that camp. I think he describes a penny stock as a stock under $5 as well. And then it seems some people also say a stock under $10. So that's a very conservative or broad brush. Do I have any longer term investments in any indexes, etc.? Yes, I do. I do swing trade, and I do have some investments. I have some Bitcoin too. Dang, what is wrong with your keyboard or your brain? I don't know, man. I don't know. KUCY. Very, very recent IPO or merger. Stock ticker symbol change. Okay, so this is just a change. This isn't a new company. I want to see what this the ticker was before. I mean, none of these show what the stock was. MYNZ. Okay. So this is what the ticker was before. So yeah, kind of a death spiral. Oof. Okay, that's nasty. CREG continue to kind of grind up here. We're getting some more volume inflow too. I'm going to sub. How often do you go live? Live. Yeah. Every day, 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. Right now, I'm just being transparent. Right now, we're in a very, very... this is probably the slowest I've been with this channel for a while. And again, that's just because I'm testing. With what I was doing before, I was doing kind of dip buys, so I was long biased, but right now I'm not. And I haven't been trading much. So like, it's mostly just been waiting for the market to heat up, only trading whenever significant moves are happening. So that's just the reality right now. I'll size up when I have more confidence, and if the strategy after I get more data shows that it isn't working, then I'm probably just going to have to pivot. But that's kind of the state we're at right now. Good morning, Skibon. Keith Gill is Roaring Kitty, if you didn't know. I did not. So you allegedly got invited to Keith Gill's, what, Telegram group or something? Yeah, that's definitely legit, man. That's definitely not a scam. Yeah, nothing suspicious there. I mean, I personally would still join it just to see what they say, but I wouldn't trust anything they say. Man, I want to get invited to a Telegram group. I want to see how they pump. Do I publish my strategy? I do not. The thing is with my strategy is it is, what is it? Market inefficiency based, right? So if I tell people how it works and people do it, then it no longer becomes an inefficiency and the edge goes away. So not only would I lose money if I shared it, but also you guys wouldn't make money with it either because it inherently wouldn't work for anybody. Good morning. I'm late today. Crappy Spectrum internet service in my area. Oh, you're good, man. It's been a slow day. Today hasn't really been anything too eventful. He made a story on his official Instagram a long time ago, like 5 months, and filled out a little questionnaire and didn't think anything of it, then received an email with an invite. So I don't know. I mean, I would definitely, that's just me, but I would check it out just out of curiosity. Flip-flop, getting a little underwater. What are you going to do, Flip-flop? Are you going to add? We can see where I would have shorted, so we can like paper trade this. So I would have been short at 174 for my starter. Where did this peak? It actually went to 174. So I'm going to say I wouldn't have got filled just because I would have been on the ask. So I would not be in this trade yet. I would have almost been. You added at 170. If it goes above 174, then I would be short on paper. So why are other educational services sharing their strategy? And if they are sharing their strategy, then is that something we should question? Yeah. I don't know how new you are to the trading space. Let me be point blank with you here. 95% of people lose money trading, and the people that make money typically have an edge that they cannot share, right? Because the strategy works because it's an inefficiency. They're doing something that other people aren't. If you are trying to sell something, then you are making your strategy mainstream, inherently destroying the strategy. So when someone else sells a service or strategy, you got to question why they're doing that. And the reality is many times it's because their strategy isn't repeatable or replicable, or it just doesn't work. You just keep top ticking starters, but they don't fill because your entries are too perfect. Yeah. I mean, in hindsight, technically, I might not have got filled. It would have been like, it's like if you have your order on the ask, would that have filled? I would say generally no, because you'd have to get past the market makers. So I probably wouldn't have filled here. So it would have really stung if I tried to short it. Your short would have done wonders at 174. Yeah. No, that's crazy though. Like I almost timed the top perfectly there. A perfect paper trade. And where would I have taken profit? I would have sold for profit at 131. See, I would have got filled. Yep. You got 20 cents of profit. Well, there you go. Inefficiency, basically, because I've been through educational programs and there are educational courses are basically shocking structure. So they sell you a course strategy, then 80% fail anyway. Inefficiency, basically, I've been through educational programs. There have been educational courses that are basically shocking structure. You mean like selling structure? Like, what do you mean by shocking structure? ACXP moving. This one's been trending up lately. This might not even be shortable just because it's been trending up. Let me check it. I am able to. Very high borrow rate, though. Okay. Get in there while I can. All right, I have orders out if it wants to come to me. I'm going to cancel my BIAF orders. This thing is kind of stabilized too much. Not really moving higher. Keep the ACXP orders out in the event this does want to go higher. No news on this. This has been trending down. There are some signals going in my favor. No, I mean, they set their educational programs up for learning a strategy, and they set it up in a way that's shocking or bad, and most people don't end up understanding it. Well, how do you know that? How do you know people are losing because they set it up bad and not because the strategy doesn't work? So one way to know if someone is selling you a product that works is, are they audited, right? If they have audited results, then their results are real. A lot of people, what they'll do is they will not share their results. They won't allow them to be audited. And then they will try to sell you something. And there's no proof that what they're doing is working, right? I could share a screenshot saying, hey guys, look, I made $70 today. And I will sometimes share some of my P&L from my swing trades that I do. But I'm not expecting people to believe me, because sharing screenshots isn't enough for people to trust you, especially when you're trying to sell a product, right? The strategy does work. Haha, I'm winning using it. Okay, well, I'm glad for you, but I don't know how many people are trustworthy in this space. I would say that the amount is extremely low. and you say the strategy works. If you don't mind, and I'm not going to ask you to tell me who it is or anything, but how long have you been trading the strategy? The educational side that teaches us how to trade the strategy is all over the place. There isn't any structure to the educational side of things. Does that make sense? Yeah, it is certainly all over the place. There's a lot of people that kind of don't know how to phrase or how to categorize certain things. Even like simple concepts like penny stock, right? It has been so distorted. People have come up with their own interpretations of things. Made a whopping 0.07R on ACXP. Well, there you go. Wow, what a reversal. My short, because I did have an order out, was at 703. Yeah, it didn't, not even really that close. Yeah, high was 648, so I needed like 55 cents to get filled on this one. I wasn't that close. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with you, Mr. I Know Everything. Yeah, people don't really have things structured too well in a lot of their courses. A lot of times it's very basic, or it's very, it isn't grounded in objective metrics. I would agree with that. But yeah, can you answer my question, Mr. I Know Everything? How long have you been trading, and how long have you been using this system that you're saying works? That you learned from somebody else? You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but I feel like those would be important questions to get context. SHIM looks like they have some kind of news. Secures $256 million in infrastructure projects supporting water systems in California. The stock has been trending up. 36 million. I was trying with it for 2 years, basically. Okay, so you've given it a good bit of time, paying monthly fees for access to capital, access the capital and educational side of things. And at some point, 6 months ago, everything switched in my head. Okay, so would it be fair to say that for 6 months, you've been profitable with it? I mean, that's not insignificant, right? And the reason I'm asking is because there's, of course, variance, right? And we'll give my super, super low sample size, for example, right? I took 9 trades, 8 are winner, 1 are loser. It's roughly 1-to-1 risk reward right now. Those are excellent metrics, but that sample size isn't reliable. I'm not claiming that I have profitability with this system. Technically, it's net profitable right now, but the variance is so unbelievably high that I can't confidently say that this isn't just a luck streak. 6 months is certainly much higher. I don't know if you're able to share it for the last 6 months, but do you have your accuracy and risk-reward ratio for the last 6 months? I'm not even asking for when you were unprofitable, because you said you were still learning the system, and I respect that. I would want to know how often you would trade, how often you're making money, and how much accuracy you have. Good morning, sir. Mr. Habuya. All right, so ACXP basically rolled over. This one looks dead. I'm probably going to cancel my order for this one as well, unfortunately. Strategy I've been using is from an ex-banker. He's been using this strategy for 12 to 13 years. Okay. No, and I think that has much more credibility. So, for example, if you have like a guru online that is selling a service, right? He's got his Lamborghinis. He's, you know, he's flashing the hundreds in his hands. He's got all the ladies. Right? That kind of promotion versus someone who was an ex-banker, I think that those credentials are very significant, right? And I think that carries much more weight. So when we talk about people selling courses or programs, I think there may have been a misalignment with who we were talking about, what kinds of people we were talking about. If you're talking about people from the banking sector, from brokers, those people would have a much more in-depth understanding of the inner workings of the market. Right? And I think those people would be much more qualified to developing a strategy than somebody who's just looking at the surface level risk reward and stuff. I don't know if you're talking to me or the other guy, Mr. Habu. Are you talking to me or are you talking to Mr. I Know Everything, FX? Man, today was really just kind of a bust. Just kind of nothing. This is the only one that seems like it's kind of done something interesting. That ex-banker is someone you met online? Yeah, that is an interesting question. How did you meet that person? Habu, as for me, no, I haven't really named it. It's just a short selling strategy. No, there's no actual name for it for me. The strategy is good, but the way they teach it to people is bad. No structure in the education it takes people forever to work it out. And I'm not saying that they're doing this on purpose, I Know Everything, but you said that you had to pay for access to it. And if it's by design meant to take forever, like that could be something that they intrinsically built in on purpose, right? They make the strategy very long and complicated to learn so that you end up spending a lot of money to learn it. Or it could be a marketing ploy is what I'm trying to say. Like if it works, fair enough, but yeah. I wasn't on my PC until after 8. Just want IMCC. I'll take it. If you can't explain your strategy in one sentence, it's probably too complicated. Well, I'm shorting stocks that I think don't deserve to be higher, right? What do I think of LIDR? DR. Okay, so this one kind of spiked up. And this one has a history of doing spikes and then just kind of slowly selling off. It's popped up again here pre-market. No news. So this entire spike was on no news. Yeah, just in general, I don't really like things that don't move without a catalyst behind them. And maybe there is one, but it's just not being reported on Bazinga. Yeah, huge volume out of nowhere here. There must have been something that came out, and this just isn't getting reported. Okay, you know what? Yeah, yesterday. Okay, so, no, it's just earnings from yesterday. Got it. I mean, I would need to know more on a more fundamental level how the company's functioning to know if this is a justified. Because the thing is with earnings, you need to know actually what the earnings catalyst changed, because fundamentals trump over technicals in this case. It seems like a stock that's had a very strange history of moving. It has a lot of... It seems like every time it's popped, it's always sold off. So I'd be hesitant to want to trust it to hold this pop. Just off of intuition. You meant Mr. Know-It-All. Yeah, LIDR had news last night. Yes, okay. And NVIDIA. So it wasn't just earnings then? Was it something else too? Okay, joins NVIDIA AI space. Okay, I see. Yes. It's still holding strong. I think it will make the move after market open, LIDR. But I took a loss on it because I cannot sit in front of my computer and watch it. Yeah. I feel that. Having to get out because of time restraints. Yeah, I can't believe it's almost 9 already. Ugh. Let me check up and see how others are doing today, because I'll do one more poll as well, just to see how people are doing for the day. I'm also going to check in on some other streamers, see how they all did. Start with our good old guy, Mr. Candyman. Wow, he took 4 trades? He traded 4 different stocks? Dude's crazy. Yeah, he's down today, too. Yeah, so it seems like Candyman might have overtraded today. Okay, DJ trading a little bit less. He's green on the day. I think we're just waiting for the top of the hour. Like normal, I'll wait a little after 9, see if any stocks come up. If anything's moving that's worth watching, I'll stick around a little longer. Why would someone who trades momentum be trading a stock to... well, no, there has been stuff that's moved, right? And I can look at the stocks he traded. I have a suspicion I know which ones he's traded. ACXP is probably one of them, right? Like, this looks like strong momentum. So I certainly respect it. But yeah, nothing's held up. Yeah, so he did trade ACXP. He traded BIAF. ACXP was the one where he lost the most money on. BIAF, he traded this one. Like this one had news. Like this genuinely seemed like a decent setup to go long on. So I respect it. He traded PMAX. We looked at that one earlier. Okay. This one did not hold up well. This was a Chinese company, right? PMAX was Chinese? No, that's PM. PMAX. Yeah, okay, so this was a Chinese company. It looks like it rugged. Pretty hard. And what's this one? KNDI. Okay, I did not even see this one. Okay, so penny stock went over $1 at one point, so he traded this one as well. Looks like he's red on the day. Yeah. I should have traded LNAI, but it did not have any news. Yeah, that's... The fact that LNAI is moving this much on no news tells me, like, this reads to me strongly as a short squeeze, because there's no reason why this should be moving up this much. Right, historically, this is a stock. You go with the 1 year. This is a horribly beaten down stock. There's no reason this should have moved this much. PMAX was Hong Kong, bad red pull. Yeah. No, and right now, because of WNW, a lot of people right now are feeling FOMO. People saw this move, right? Went up 600% yesterday. So now anything that's Chinese is moving. Like if it gets even a little bit of momentum, it starts to move. And you start to get to these like PMAX scenarios where it's getting propped up. And I called this out even. I noted how this initial part of the move up was on extremely light volume, right? Most of the volume came in here at the top. And lo and behold, it ended up being a rug pull. But the reason I didn't want to short it is because the flip side is also true, is that there could be genuine momentum behind these moves. So you're basically looking at very high risk, very high reward. Like the odds that this squeezed parabolically were much higher, but the odds that this rug pulled were also much higher, if that makes sense. The bands of the extremes have increased for Chinese stocks right now. Your risk and reward for trading a Chinese stock is probably high. Nice Xmas tree. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The Chinese are in my pocket big this time. I'm done with them. But I don't write them off still. I'm very cautious. Imagine the FOMO if WNW had held and was trading at 20. Yes, certainly. Yeah, and that's a good point, right? If WNW didn't do the Christmas tree pattern, if like, let's say it popped up to like where its high was and it held at like $8, I guarantee you that the FOMO and Chinese stocks would be through the roof today. The fact that it failed, I mean, we're still, look at it this way. The stock fully retraced and we still got some Chinese stocks that pumped, right? PMAX pumped. There was like one other one that pumped. So even with it failing, there was still FOMO. If it had held, I agree, it would have probably been much stronger. Yeah, we're at the top of the hour here. I'll go ahead and stick around till 9:05. Looking like it's probably a no trade day for me. I'm totally okay with that though. There just wasn't anything that really gave opportunity. The OCG, this was another Chinese stock. Wait, was this Chinese? I can't actually remember. Okay, yeah, this was a Chinese stock too. Looks like this one also kind of rugged. This didn't even move up this much. This only moved up like 25% or something. So BIF didn't even really give an opportunity. Yeah, there's just nothing making a big move and holding it. Even looking at the gap scanner, the biggest mover is up 35%. And this is literally a stock that moved up yesterday. So pre-market today was basically dead. I wouldn't say there was anything that had a significant move. And therefore, I don't think I made any significant mistakes by not trading. Hollow, it's time. It's time, Hollow. What's Hollow doing? Tell me. What are you doing, Hollow? It's not doing anything. What do you mean it's time? Oh, you mean because Chinese stocks are moving? I mean, certainly, right? Well, let me put it this way. If WMW would have held up, I think this would be much more of a candidate. It seems like right now, there needs to be momentum starting for it to get traction. I forgot, happy St. Patrick's Day. Well, thank you, sir. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you in the chat. I didn't even realize it was St. Patty's Day. Nothing, but I wanted to make everyone laugh. Yeah. I'm probably going to be at break even this month. We'll probably take off the last week just to relax a bit. The market has been terrible this month. Oh, you should have seen it last month, man. Like, oh my God, February was god awful. Oh, it was so bad. I mean, I was red in February, but I don't even care about that. Like, it was so incredibly slow in February. But yeah, let's see. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and end it here since nothing's really moving. So you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll be back tomorrow.